Dr. Alex Rivera wiped his sweaty palms on his lab coat for the third time in 5 minutes. Today was the day he had been preparing for his entire career. After 28 years of life and 6 years of studying alien cultures, he was about to meet real aliens for the first time. Not just any aliens, but royalty from a distant star system. The space station around him buzzed with nervous energy. Scientists, diplomats, and security personnel moved through the corridors like busy ants preparing for the most important day in human history. Alex checked his notes again, even though he had memorized every detail about Zephyrian culture weeks ago. "Remember, they don't shake hands," he whispered to himself. "They communicate through some kind of energy field. Don't touch them. Don't even try." The communication room had been specially prepared for this meeting. Soft blue lights replaced the harsh white ones that humans preferred. The temperature was kept cool, just like the aliens liked it. Everything had to be perfect. One mistake could ruin the chance for peace between their species. Alex's assistant, Dr. Kim Chen, rushed into the room carrying a tablet. "They're coming! The alien ship just docked. She'll be here in 10 minutes. "She?" Alex asked, though he already knew the answer. "Princess Zara of the Star Kingdom, the most important person in their entire empire after the king himself." Alex's heart pounded faster. Meeting any alien would be incredible, but meeting their princess? This was beyond his wildest dreams. He had spent years wondering what they would look like, how they would act, what they would think of humans. The doors slid open with a soft whoosh. Alex straightened his shoulders and tried to look professional. First came the guards, tall beings wearing silver armor that seemed to glow from within. Their faces were hidden behind masks that looked like they were made of liquid metal. Then she entered. Princess Zara was nothing like Alex had imagined, yet somehow exactly what he had hoped for. She stood about as tall as a human woman, but her skin had a pale blue tint that seemed to shimmer under the lights. Strange markings covered her arms and face, glowing softly like stars in the night sky. Her eyes were larger than human eyes, and they seemed to hold the wisdom of centuries. She wore robes that flowed around her like water, changing color from deep purple to silver as she moved. On her head sat a crown that wasn't really a crown at all, but rather a band of light that floated just above her hair. Alex forgot to breathe for a moment. She was beautiful, but not in a human way. She was beautiful like a sunset or a mountain range. Something that made you stop and stare in wonder. "Your Highness," Alex said, bowing slightly as he had practiced. "Welcome to our station. I am Dr. Alex Rivera, your cultural guide during this visit." The princess looked at him with those large, curious eyes. She tilted her head slightly, and the markings on her face glowed a little brighter. One of her guards stepped forward and spoke in a voice that sounded like music, mixed with the whisper of wind. "Her Royal Highness acknowledges your greeting, Dr. Rivera. She is pleased to meet the humans who have traveled so far to speak with our people." Alex smiled and, without thinking, extended his hand toward her. It was such a natural human gesture, something he had done thousands of times in his life. But the moment his hand moved toward her, every alien in the room stepped back. The princess stared at his outstretched hand like he had pulled out a weapon. The guards reached for something at their belts, but the princess raised her own hand to stop them. "I'm sorry," Alex said quickly, pulling his hand back. "I forgot. Humans shake hands when we meet. It's how we show friendship." The translator spoke rapidly to the princess in their musical language. She responded, her voice like the sound of bells in the distance. The translator turned back to Alex. "Her Highness asks why humans touch each other so freely. She says that, among her people, physical contact is reserved for the most sacred of bonds." Alex felt his face turn red. "I didn't mean to offend. It's just our way. We shake hands, we hug, we pat each other on the back. It's how we show we care about each other." The princess stepped closer, studying Alex with intense curiosity. She said something else to the translator. She wishes to understand this custom better. She has studied human culture, but seeing it in person is very different. For the next hour, Alex gave the princess and her group a tour of the station. He showed them the meeting rooms where the peace talks would happen, the dining area where both species could eat together, and the observation deck where they could look out at the stars. Throughout the tour, Alex noticed that the princess watched everything with fascination. When they passed a group of human workers, she stopped to observe how they interacted. She saw them pat each other on the shoulder, shake hands, even give quick hugs when they accomplished something together. "Your people are very connected," she said through the translator. It was the first time she had spoken directly to Alex, and her voice was even more beautiful than he had imagined. "I suppose we are," Alex replied. "Touch is important to us. It makes us feel less alone." The princess's markings glowed brighter for a moment, and Alex wondered what that meant. Did it show emotion? Was she surprised, curious, sad? As they walked through the garden area of the station where earth plants grew under artificial sunlight, something unexpected happened. Alex was explaining how humans used gardens to feel connected to their home planet when he stumbled slightly over a raised section of the floor. Without thinking, the princess reached out to steady him. Her hand touched his arm for just a moment, barely a second, but both of them froze. The touch was electric, but not in a painful way. It was like touching a live wire made of warmth and light. Alex felt something he had never experienced before, a connection that went deeper than words or thoughts. For that brief moment, he could almost sense what she was feeling: curiosity, wonder, and something else he couldn't quite identify. The princess pulled her hand back quickly, staring at her own fingers like they had betrayed her. The markings on her face and arms pulsed with different colors, cycling through blue, purple, and gold. "Are you all right, Your Highness?" Alex asked, concerned. She spoke rapidly to her translator, who looked surprised by whatever she had said. "Her Highness says she has never felt anything like that before. She asks what humans call this sensation when they touch." Alex thought about it carefully. "We might call it connection or understanding. Sometimes when we touch someone, we feel closer to them, like we understand them better." The princess looked at her hand again, then at Alex. She spoke one more time to the translator. She asks if this is why humans touch each other so often, to feel this connection. "Sometimes," Alex admitted, "though usually it's not quite so intense." As they continued the tour, Alex noticed that the princess kept glancing at him. Several times she started to reach out as if to touch something, then stopped herself. It was like she was fighting against a new curiosity that had awakened in her. When the tour ended and it was time for the princess to return to her quarters, she stopped at the doorway and turned back to Alex. She spoke directly to him, her voice soft and thoughtful. The translator hesitated before speaking. "Her Highness says. She says she would like to understand more about human customs of touch. She asks if you would be willing to teach her during her stay here." Alex felt his heart skip a beat. "Of course, Your Highness. I would be honored." As she left, escorted by her guards, Alex stood in the empty corridor, wondering what had just happened. He had expected this assignment to be about politics and diplomacy. He hadn't expected to feel such a strong connection to someone from another world. He looked down at his arm where she had touched him. He could still feel the warmth of that brief contact, like a gentle glow under his skin. For the first time in his career as a scientist, he was experiencing something that couldn't be easily explained or measured. That night, as Alex prepared his reports for the diplomatic team, he found himself thinking not about trade agreements or peace treaties, but about the way the princess's eyes had widened when their hands touched, and the way her markings had glowed like stars coming to life. He was supposed to be helping two species understand each other, but somehow he had the feeling that he was about to learn just as much about himself as he would about alien culture. And it all started with a simple touch, the most human of gestures, shared with someone who came from the stars. 3 weeks had passed since Princess Zara's arrival, and Alex had settled into a routine he never could have imagined. Every morning, he would meet the princess in the Cultural Exchange Center, a large room filled with displays showing life from both worlds. Today, like every day, she greeted him with a slight bow, her glowing markings pulsing with what he had learned was curiosity. "Good morning, Your Highness," Alex said, bowing in return. He had stopped offering handshakes after that first day, but he noticed how her eyes always lingered on his hands when he gestured while speaking. "Dr. Rivera," she replied through her translator, though Alex was starting to pick up some of her language. Her voice had a musical quality that made even formal greetings sound like poetry. "I am ready to learn more about your people today." Alex smiled. Over the past weeks, he had shown her videos of human life, explained their customs, and answered hundreds of questions about everything from why humans kept pets to why they celebrated birthdays. But today felt different. Today, he had planned something special. "I thought we might visit the observation deck," Alex suggested. "There's something happening there that I think you'll find interesting." As they walked through the station corridors, Alex noticed how other humans reacted to the princess. At first, everyone had been nervous and formal around her. But Princess Zara had a way of putting people at ease. She would stop to observe their work, ask thoughtful questions, and listen carefully to their answers. Her genuine interest in human life had won over even the most nervous scientists. They passed Dr. Chen and her research team in the hallway. "Good luck with the experiment today," Dr. Chen called out, giving Alex a thumbs up. "What does that gesture mean?" Princess Zara asked immediately, having caught the interaction. "It's a way to show support and encouragement," Alex explained. "We use our hands to communicate feelings even when we're not touching." The princess studied her own hands thoughtfully. "My people communicate feelings through our markings and through mental connections. But we do not use our hands in this way." When they reached the observation deck, Alex's surprise was waiting. A group of children from the station's family quarters were there with their teacher, Mrs. Johnson. The kids, ranging from about 5 to 10 years old, were doing their weekly Earth Studies class, where they learned about their home planet, while looking at it through the giant windows. "Dr. Rivera," called out little Tommy, a 6-year-old with messy brown hair. "Is that the space princess?" Alex knelt down to Tommy's level. "This is Princess Zara from the Zephyr system." "Princess, these are some of the youngest humans on our station." The children gathered around, their eyes wide with wonder. Princess Zara looked equally fascinated by them. Alex realized this was her first time seeing human children up close. "Why do they touch so much?" she asked, watching as the children naturally held hands, hugged each other, and tugged on their teacher's sleeves for attention. "Children learn about the world through touch," Alex explained. "It helps them feel safe and loved." As if to prove his point, little Sophie, a 7-year-old with curly red hair, approached Mrs. Johnson looking upset. "I miss my mommy," she said. Sadly, without hesitation, Mrs. Johnson pulled Sophie into a gentle hug, stroking her hair softly. "I know, sweetheart. She'll be back from her mission soon." Princess Zara watched this interaction with intense focus. Her markings shifted through different colors, blue, purple, then a warm golden glow. "The adult is sharing comfort through touch," she observed, "and the small human feels better." "Exactly," Alex said. "Touch can heal emotional pain, not just physical pain." The princess stepped closer to the group of children, who were now sitting in a circle sharing stories about Earth. Alex noticed that she was particularly interested in how they interacted with each other. When one child got excited about his story, he would grab his friend's arm. When another felt shy, she would lean against her teacher. It was all so natural, so automatic. "In my world," the princess said quietly to Alex. Children learn to connect through thought energy from a very young age. But She paused, and her markings dimmed slightly. I have never been able to form these connections easily. I have always felt different from others of my kind. Alex felt a pang of sympathy. That must have been lonely. Very lonely, she admitted. I have always wondered what it would feel like to truly connect with another being. Just then, little Tommy ran up to them, having overheard part of their conversation. Princess Zara, are you sad? He asked, with the direct honesty that only children possess. The princess looked down at him, surprised by his directness. I am learning about sadness, she said carefully. Without warning, Tommy reached up and gently patted her arm, the same way he might comfort a friend at school. There, he said, mimicking what adults had done for him countless times. Touching makes sad feelings go away. The moment Tommy's small hand touched her arm, Princess Zara's entire body went still. Her markings exploded with color, cycling through every hue Alex had ever seen on her. The child's innocent gesture of comfort had somehow reached her in a way that formal diplomatic touches could not. What was that? She whispered, staring at Tommy with wonder. That's how humans show they care, Tommy said simply. My mommy says hugs and pats make everything better. The princess knelt down to Tommy's level, studying his face. You gave me comfort without expecting anything in return. That's what friends do, Tommy shrugged, as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. For the rest of the afternoon, Princess Zara observed the children with new eyes. She watched them share their snacks, automatically reaching out to help each other, offering comfort when someone fell down. Alex could see her processing everything, trying to understand this fundamental aspect of human nature. When the children's class ended and they were preparing to leave, something unexpected happened. Sophie, the little girl who had been missing, her mother approached the princess shyly. Princess Zara, she said softly, would you like a goodbye hug? My teacher says hugs help us remember people we care about. The princess looked at Alex, uncertainty clear in her expression. Alex nodded encouragingly. Only if you want to, Your Highness. There's no pressure. Princess Zara knelt down and carefully, very carefully, opened her arms. Sophie stepped forward and wrapped her small arms around the princess's neck in a gentle hug. The princess's markings glowed so brightly that they illuminated the entire corner of the observation deck. When they separated, both the child and the princess had tears in their eyes. I felt, the princess began, then stopped, struggling to find words. I felt connected, not through thought waves or energy fields, but through something deeper, something that came from the heart. As the children left, waving goodbye, Princess Zara remained kneeling on the floor, staring at her hands. Your people have discovered something mine have forgotten, she said to Alex. Physical touch is not just about the body, it is about the soul. Alex knelt beside her. Maybe that's why you were chosen for this mission, to help both our peoples remember what connection really means. The princess looked at him, and for the first time since they had met, she slowly extended her hand toward his. Not accidentally, not in greeting, but intentionally, seeking connection. Dr. Rivera, she said softly, would you teach me more about this gift your people have? I want to understand how touch can carry so much meaning. Alex looked at her outstretched hand, then into her eyes, which were filled with hope and curiosity. Slowly, gently, he placed his hand over hers. The connection was immediate and overwhelming, not just the electric sensation they had felt before, but something deeper. Through that simple touch, Alex could sense her loneliness, her wonder, her desire to understand. And somehow, he felt that she could sense his genuine desire to help her, his growing care for her well-being. This, she whispered, her markings pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. This is what I have been missing my entire life. As they sat together in the soft light of the observation deck, hands connected, watching the stars outside the windows, Alex realized that their cultural exchange had become something much more personal. He was no longer just teaching her about human customs. He was helping her discover a part of herself she never knew existed, and in the process, he was discovering something about himself, too. The emergency alarm echoed through the space station at 2:47 in the morning, jolting Alex awake from restless sleep. Red lights flashed in the corridors as he rushed toward the command center, pulling on his lab coat over his sleep clothes. The peace talks that had been going so well for 6 weeks were suddenly falling apart. "What's happening?" Alex asked Commander Blake as he entered the control room. "Extremist groups from both sides," the commander replied grimly. "Some humans think we're sharing too much technology. Some Zephyrians believe we're trying to steal their secrets. They're demanding the talks be stopped immediately." Alex's heart sank. All the progress they had made, all the connections formed between their species, could be destroyed in a single night. "Where is Princess Zara?" "In the diplomatic quarters with her advisors. They've been in meetings for hours." Alex hurried through the station's corridors, past worried faces and hushed conversations. When he reached the diplomatic section, he found Zephyrian guards standing outside the princess's quarters. They recognized him and allowed him inside. The room was dimly lit, and Princess Zara sat alone at a large table covered with documents and communication devices. Her usual bright, curious markings had turned deep blue, a color Alex had learned meant sadness or distress among her people. She looked up when he entered, and he could see exhaustion in her large eyes. "Dr. Rivera," she said softly, her voice heavy with worry. "I did not expect to see you so late." "I heard about the crisis," Alex said, moving closer. "How are you holding up?" The princess's markings flickered between blue and darker purple. "My advisors tell me we may have to leave tomorrow. They say the opposition on both sides is too strong." Alex pulled up a chair beside her. "You don't look like someone who's ready to give up." "I am not," she admitted, "but I feel so helpless. On my world, when there are problems, I can reach out with my mind, connect with others, share thoughts and feelings to find solutions. But here," she gestured to the empty room, "I am alone with only my own thoughts. Without thinking, Alex reached out and gently covered her hands with his own. The moment their skin touched, her markings shifted from dark blue to a softer, warmer glow. "You're not alone," he said quietly. "I'm here." For a moment, they sat in comfortable silence, hands connected. Alex could feel the tension leaving her body, and somehow his own worry seemed lighter too. "This connection we share," Princess Zara said finally. "It is different from anything I have ever experienced. Among my people, mental bonds are instant and complete. We share everything, thoughts, memories, emotions. But with you," she paused, searching for words. "With you, the connection is gentler, warmer. It leaves room for mystery, for discovery." Alex felt his heart racing. Over the weeks, he had tried to convince himself that his growing feelings for the princess were simply professional interest, cultural fascination. But sitting here in the quiet room, holding her hands while she trusted him with her deepest concerns, he could no longer deny the truth. "Princess," he began, then stopped. "Zara, may I call you Zara?" She nodded, and for the first time that night a small smile appeared on her face. "Zara, I need to tell you something. When I first met you, I thought this assignment was about helping two species understand each other, but somewhere along the way it became about understanding you. And now," he took a deep breath, "now I can't imagine my life without you in it." The princess's markings began to pulse with colors he had never seen before, soft golds and pinks mixed with the blues and purples he knew. "Alex," she whispered, using his first name for the first time. "I must tell you something as well." She turned in her chair to face him fully, their hands still connected. "Do you remember when I told you that I have always been different from others of my kind? That I cannot form the mental bonds that come naturally to my people?" Alex nodded. "I have spent my entire life feeling broken, incomplete. My parents, my teachers, even the healers on my world, they all tried to help me connect the way others do. But nothing worked. I began to believe that I was meant to live in isolation, that deep connection was something I would never experience." Her voice grew softer, more vulnerable. "But then I came here, and you taught me about touch, about human connection. That first time our hands met by accident, I felt something I had never felt before. Not the overwhelming flood of thoughts and emotions that my people share, but something gentler, something that felt like coming home." Alex's breath caught in his throat. "These past weeks, learning from you, watching you interact with others, feeling the warmth of human connection, it has awakened something in me that I did not know existed. You have shown me that there are many ways to connect, many ways to love." "Love?" Alex repeated, hardly daring to believe what he was hearing. Princess Zara's markings now glowed with pure, warm gold. "Yes, Alex, love. I may not be able to share minds the way my people do, but I can share hearts the way yours do. And my heart." She squeezed his hands gently. "My heart belongs to you." Alex felt tears forming in his eyes. "Zara, I love you too. I've been trying to fight it because I thought it was impossible, but nothing is impossible." She interrupted softly. "You humans have taught me that." They sat together in the soft glow of her markings, hands intertwined, hearts open. For the first time since the crisis began, Alex felt hope. "But what about the peace talks?" he asked. "What about your duties to your people?" "I have been thinking about that all night," Zara said. "My advisors want me to return home, to marry someone chosen by politics and forget about this place. They say it is my duty." Alex felt his heart sink. "And what do you want?" "I want to stay," she said firmly. "I want to continue building bridges between our worlds. I want to show both species that connection is possible, that love can exist across any divide, and I want to do it with you. But your people, your family, they'll never accept it." Zara smiled, and her markings pulsed with determination. "My father sent me here to learn about humans, and to help forge a lasting peace. What better way to do that than to show that two beings from different worlds can find love and understanding together?" Alex stared at her in amazement. "You would give up your position, your inheritance, everything." "I would not be giving up anything," she said. "I would be choosing everything that matters. I would be choosing love, choosing connection, choosing a future where our children, whether they are born human or Zephyrian or something wonderfully new, can grow up in a universe where differences are celebrated, not feared." Alex brought her hands to his lips and gently kissed her fingers. Her markings flared brightly at the gesture. "Are you sure?" he asked. "Once we take this step, there's no going back." "I have never been more sure of anything in my life," Zara replied. "You asked me once why humans hold hands. Now I understand. You hold hands to share strength, to offer comfort, to promise that no one has to face the universe alone. I want to hold your hand, Alex Rivera, for the rest of my life." As the first light of dawn began to filter through the station's windows, Alex and Zara sat together, planning not just how to save the peace talks, but how to build a future that neither of their species had ever imagined. Their love had started with a simple touch, but it was growing into something that could change the galaxy. Outside their window, Ships from both worlds waited to see if peace was possible. Inside that quiet room, two hearts from different stars had already found their answer. The message arrived 3 days after Alex and Princess Zara had confessed their love to each other. Alex was in his lab, analyzing data from the latest cultural exchange sessions, when Dr. Chen burst through the door with a worried expression. "Alex, you need to see this immediately," she said, holding out a communication tablet. "It's from the Zephyrian homeworld." Alex took the tablet and read the official message displayed on the screen. His heart sank with every word. King Altair, Princess Zara's father, had sent a direct order. The princess was to return home immediately for her arranged marriage to Prince Chiron of the Northern Houses. The ceremony would unite two powerful families and strengthen their empire's political alliances. "How long do we have?" Alex asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "The royal ship arrives in 2 days," Dr. Chen replied softly. "Alex, I'm sorry. I know you two have become close. Close. If only it were that simple." Alex set down the tablet and stared out his lab window at the stars. Somewhere out there was Zephyr Prime, a world he had never seen but now felt was pulling away the most important person in his life. Later that evening, Alex found Princess Zara in the observation lounge, sitting alone and staring out at the cosmos. Her markings were the deepest blue he had ever seen, so dark they were almost black. She didn't look up when he approached. "You received the message," she said quietly. Yes, Alex sat beside her, but for the first time in weeks, he didn't reach for her hand. "What will you do?" Princess Zara finally turned to look at him, and Alex could see tears glistening in her large eyes. "Prince Chiron is a good man, kind, intelligent, respected by our people. Our marriage would bring peace to regions that have been in conflict for generations." "That's not what I asked," Alex said gently. "I know what you asked." She wiped away a tear. "My father gave me a choice, Alex. I can fulfill my duty to my people and marry as planned, or I can give up my title, my position, my family, everything I have ever known." Alex felt his heart breaking. "And? If I choose love over duty, I will never be able to return home. I will be exiled from my own world, cut off from my family forever. And you?" She looked at him with such sadness that Alex had to fight back. His own tears. "You would be bound to someone who has nothing left to offer you." "Zara, that's not true. You could never have nothing to offer." But the princess shook her head. "My father was very clear. If I choose to stay here with you, I become an outcast. No Zephyrian would ever trust me again. I would lose my ability to help our peoples work together. Everything we have accomplished, all the progress we have made, it would be meaningless." Alex stared out at the stars, processing what she had told him. The woman he loved was being forced to choose between her heart and her entire world. And if she chose him, it would destroy everything she had worked for. "There's something else," Princess Zara continued, her voice growing even softer. "Prince Chiron is not just any nobleman. He leads the faction that supports peace with humans. If I refuse this marriage, his family will lose face, and the peace negotiations will likely fail. Thousands of lives hang in the balance." Alex closed his eyes. The weight of entire civilizations was pressing down on their love story. 2 species, countless lives, political alliances that had taken years to build. All of it could crumble if Princess Zara chose her heart over her duty. "You have to go," Alex said finally, the words feeling like poison in his mouth. "Alex, no." "You have to go," he repeated, turning to face her. "Your people need you. The peace process needs you. I won't let you sacrifice the future of 2 worlds. For me." Princess Zara's markings flared bright red. Anger, Alex realized. "Do not make this choice for me, Alex Rivera. Do not take away my right to decide my own path." "I'm not taking anything away. I'm giving you permission to do what you already know is right. Right? She stood up, her whole body glowing with emotion. What is right about being forced to marry someone I do not love? What is right about abandoning the person who taught me what connection truly means? Alex stood as well, fighting every instinct that told him to reach for her, to hold her, to promise they would find a way through this together. Instead, he stepped back. The right thing is ensuring that our peoples can coexist peacefully. The right thing is making sure that other beings like us, humans and Zephyrians who fall in love, have a future where that love is possible. And what about our love? Princess Zara asked, her voice breaking. What about what we feel for each other? Alex looked at her for a long moment, memorizing every detail of her face, the way her markings created patterns of light and shadow, the way her eyes held both strength and vulnerability. Our love will be the foundation for others to build on, he said finally. We may not get our happy ending, but we can make sure that someday others will. For the next 2 days, Alex deliberately avoided Princess Zara. He threw himself into his work, preparing detailed reports about human Zephyrian cultural compatibility. He helped organize the farewell ceremonies. He did everything he could to stay busy, so he wouldn't have to think about the fact that the person he loved was about to leave forever. But avoiding her became impossible on the final evening. Princess Zara came to his quarters and stood outside his door until he had no choice but to let her in. "Why won't you see me?" she asked, her markings dim and sad. "Why won't you hold my hands any more?" Alex kept his distance, standing across the room from her. "Because it hurts too much." "It hurts. Me too," she said. "But running away from each other will not make the pain less. It will only waste the precious time we have left. Zara, please don't make this harder than it already is. I am not making anything harder. I am asking you to be honest with me, as I have been honest with you." She took a step closer. "Tell me the real reason you are pushing me away." Alex turned his back to her, staring out his small window at the stars. "Because if I spend one more moment holding your hand, looking into your eyes, feeling connected to you, I won't be strong enough to let you go." "Then don't let me go." "I have to." "No, you don't." Her voice was right behind him now. "We could find another way. There is no other way." Alex spun around to face her. "Don't you understand? I love you too much to let you destroy your life for me. I love you too much to be the reason peace fails between our peoples. I love you too much to be selfish." Princess Zara stared at him for a long moment, tears streaming down her face. Her markings cycled through every color Alex had ever seen. Blue sadness, red anger, purple confusion, and finally a soft golden acceptance. "You are sacrificing your happiness for mine," she whispered. "I'm sacrificing our happiness for everyone else's future." She moved closer, reaching out to touch his face. Despite everything, Alex couldn't pull away from her gentle touch. "Then, let me ask you one last question, Alex Rivera," she said softly. "If you truly believe this is the right choice, if you truly believe we must part ways for the greater good, then why do my markings tell me that your heart is breaking just as much as mine?" Alex looked into her eyes, those beautiful alien eyes that had become more familiar to him than his own reflection. Because sometimes doing the right thing and doing the easy thing are completely different. And sometimes, love means letting go. As Princess Zara's ship prepared to depart the next morning, Alex stood in the observation deck, watching through the windows. He did not go to the docking bay to say goodbye. He could not trust himself to see her one last time and still have the strength to let her leave. But as her ship moved away from the station, growing smaller and smaller until it was just another point of light among the stars, Alex whispered, words that only the cosmos could hear. "I love you, Zara, and I always will." 6 months had passed since Princess Zara left the station. Alex had thrown himself into his work, but every day felt empty without her presence. He continued his research on human-Zephyrian relations, hoping that somehow his work would honor what they had shared together. The peace talks had continued, but progress was slow without the princess's unique ability to bridge both worlds. On a quiet Tuesday morning, Alex was in his lab reviewing cultural compatibility reports when his communication device chimed with an urgent message. The sender made his heart skip a beat. Official royal communication, Zephyr Prime. With trembling hands, Alex opened the message. It was a formal announcement, but the words seemed impossible to believe. Princess Zara had requested an emergency council meeting with both human and Zephyrian leadership. She was asking to address both species simultaneously via live communication link. 2 hours later, Alex stood in the main conference room alongside Commander Blake, Dr. Chen, and the entire diplomatic team. On the massive screen at the front of the room, King Altair of Zephyr Prime appeared, his expression serious but not unkind. Beside him stood Princess Zara, looking more radiant than Alex remembered, her markings glowing with confident golden light. "Citizens of both worlds," King Altair began, his voice carrying the weight of authority, "my daughter has requested to address you all with an important announcement regarding the future of our alliance." Alex's heart pounded as Princess Zara stepped forward. Even through the communication screen, her presence filled the room. "My fellow Zephyrians and my human friends," she began, her voice steady and strong. 6 months ago, I returned home to fulfill what everyone believed was my duty. I was to marry Prince Chiron and strengthen our political alliances through traditional bonds. Alex felt his stomach drop. This was it. She was announcing her marriage, making their separation final and public. But during these months at home, Princess Zara continued, I have spent countless hours with Prince Chiron, learning about his vision for our people's future. And I have discovered something remarkable. The princess's markings began to pulse with excitement. Prince Chiron believes, as I do, that the strongest alliances are not built through arranged marriages, but through genuine understanding and shared purpose. Together we have developed a new proposal for the council's consideration. Alex blinked in confusion. This was not what he had expected to hear. Rather than unite our houses through marriage, Princess Zara announced, Prince Chiron, and I have proposed that I accept a new position, permanent Zephyrian ambassador to the neutral territories. This role would allow me to serve my people while continuing the vital work of building lasting peace with humanity. The room erupted in surprised murmurs. Alex felt his knees go weak. King Altair stepped forward. At first I was opposed to this unconventional arrangement. But my daughter and Prince Chiron presented compelling evidence that this path would serve our people far better than a traditional political marriage. Princess Zara's unique understanding of human culture makes her invaluable in this role. Furthermore, Princess Zara continued, her eyes seeming to look directly at Alex through the screen, during my time on the human station, I learned something that my people had forgotten. True connection, whether between individuals or between entire civilizations, cannot be forced. It must be chosen freely, nurtured with patience, and built on genuine understanding. Alex's hands shook as he watched her speak. Was she really saying what he thought she was saying? Therefore, Princess Zara announced, I will be returning to the diplomatic station within the week to assume my new permanent position. I will continue the work of building bridges between our worlds, because I believe that love itself, whether between two people or two species, is the greatest service we can offer to the universe. The transmission ended, leaving the conference room in stunned silence. Alex stood frozen, barely able to process what he had just heard. Princess Zara was coming back, not just for a visit, but permanently. Commander Blake was the first to speak. Well, Dr. Rivera, it looks like you'll be getting your cultural advisor back. 3 days later, Alex stood in the docking bay, his heart racing as the familiar Zephyrian ship approached the station. This time, he hadn't stayed away. This time, he was going to be there when she stepped off that ship. The airlock opened with a soft hiss, and Princess Zara emerged, no longer in formal royal robes but wearing the practical clothing of a working diplomat. Her markings glowed bright gold when she saw Alex waiting for her. "Hello, Dr. Rivera," she said with a smile that lit up the entire docking bay. "Hello, Ambassador Zara," Alex replied, using her new title. They stood looking at each other for a moment, both uncertain how to bridge the months of separation. Finally, Alex spoke. "I have to ask," he said softly. "How did you convince your father to let you come back?" Princess Zara stepped closer, close enough that Alex could see the joy dancing in her eyes. "I told him the truth," she said simply. "I told him that humans had taught me something our people had forgotten, that duty and love are not enemies. Sometimes the greatest duty we can perform is to follow our hearts, because that is where we find the strength to serve others." And Prince Chiron? He was really willing to give up the marriage? Princess Zara laughed, a sound like silver bells. "Prince Chiron has been in love with someone else for years, a brilliant scientist from his own house. Our arranged marriage would have made 3 people miserable. Now he is free to follow his heart, and I am free to follow mine." Alex felt tears forming in his eyes. "So you chose—" "I chose everything," she said firmly. "I chose to serve my people in the way I can best serve them. I chose to continue building peace between our worlds, and I chose to do it all with the person who taught me that love makes us stronger, not weaker." Slowly, carefully, Alex reached out his hand toward her. "And what did your father say about that choice?" Princess Zara took his hand without hesitation, their fingers intertwining naturally. Her markings pulsed with warm, golden light that seemed to flow in rhythm with Alex's heartbeat. He said that any being who could inspire his daughter to find such courage and wisdom must be worthy of her. "Love," she replied. "He gave us his blessing, Alex." Alex squeezed her hand gently. "Are you sure about this? Are you sure you can be happy here, away from your home world?" Princess Zara used her free hand to touch Alex's face, her markings glowing brighter than he had ever seen them. "My home is not a place," she said softly. "My home is wherever we are together, building something beautiful for the future. Whether that's on this station, on Earth, on Zephyr Prime, or among the stars themselves." As they walked hand in hand through the station corridors, past human and Zephyrian workers who smiled and waved at their returning ambassador, Alex marveled at how different this homecoming felt from their first meeting months ago. "You know," he said as they approached the observation deck where they had shared so many important moments, "you never did answer your own question." "What question?" Princess Zara asked, though her markings flickered with amusement. "Why do I hold your hands, human?" Alex said, mimicking her formal tone from that first day. Princess Zara stopped walking and turned to face him fully, taking both of his hands in hers. Her markings pulsed with every color of joy and love. "Because," she said, her voice filled with wonder and certainty, "holding hands is how we promise that no one has to face the universe alone. It's how we share our strength, our dreams, and our hopes for tomorrow. It's how we say, 'I choose you' in a language that every heart can understand." Alex brought her hands to his lips and kissed them gently, just as he had that night when they first confessed their love. "I choose you too, Zara," he whispered. "Today, tomorrow, and for as long as the stars shine." As they stood together in the soft light of the station's corridors, hands intertwined, hearts connected across the vastness of space, Alex realized that their love story was just beginning. They had proven that connection could transcend any barrier, that love could bridge any distance, and that sometimes the greatest adventures begin with the simple question, "Why do you hold my hands?" Outside the station's windows, ships from both worlds traveled peacefully through space, carrying beings who now believed that understanding was possible, that differences could be celebrated, and that love truly was the universal language that connected all hearts across the cosmos.